Sleep Hacking with London Rio, brought to you by Bulletproof. Learn how to hack your sleep.
Nelson Mandela is so famous for coming out, becoming elected president, and not seeking retribution, not seeking revenge against, the white oppression for his whole career. And he was making peace with people, and he hired the bodyguards from his former presidency. He supported the rugby teams, and he was completely the opposite of what everyone expected. Did you expect that from him?
The way he was in prison, he was studying the white folks of the prison warders, and you could have seen the fears which a country will have, the white people in the country will have, if Mandela will come out. And he was just doing the opposite to make them all acceptable in the new South Africa. I asked Mandela one day, don't you hate the white people of the country? He said, Mr. Brand, all my comrades are white. I've got a lot of white comrades. And I can't hate the white people of the country because half of them, or more than half of them, was uninformed what was going on in this country. I can hate the system which was in place where oppression was put to white people, to black. I can say I hate that. But I can't take revenge on people which was innocent during the struggle.
Do you think you could have done the same thing, being in his position?
If I was in that position, I'm not sure. If I was in prison for so many years, oppressed, I'm sure I will come out with some hate. But Mandela was not that. He was just the opposite, show the opposite for the world. And that made him acceptable for the whole world, that he come out with no hate in him. And he wanted reconciliation. He even put to me, said, Mr. Brand, you must write a book. I didn't write about prison warders much in my book, but I want you to write a book to talk about reconciliation, how prisoners could have been friends with warders. And I promised him I will do that, but every time delayed it, till he asked me, you must get somebody, and so the book will be out.
So he's been trying to get you to write this book for what, 20 years? Longer?
No, it was here from 94, 95, yeah.
Okay, he wanted you to give that perspective.
That's correct.
Of the warden and the prisoners. When you see what he's done, it's amazing to me that everyone around the world thinks Mandela is one of the greatest leaders, one of the greatest men. And the only thing that was different about him was his attitude. He just changed an attitude. He didn't invent something. He didn't do a great feat or a great athletic thing. He just came out and treated people in a completely different way that people didn't expect.
He treated people with respect. He came out of, what made me proud of Mandela? If I look back, the day when he was released, the first day when he go up to the Grand Parade to approach the folks who were standing there was people who don't like him, which hate him, maybe stand in that crowd. There was white people. There was mixed race people from the Western Cape, mostly mixed race. There was African people, his own people with speaking his language. But his first words was in Afrikaans. The language people speak in the Western Cape. Immediately I feel very proud in myself. He recognized us, whites and mixed race people, he recognized us in this Cape Town. Then he speak in English for the people who didn't understand. Then he go over to speak in his own home tongue, to his own people. He bring them up last. And that was for me so powerful when he speak that Afrikaans words there, to welcome the people and say, I'm here.
Were you sad when he died?
When he died, I was very sad. But we all expected to happen because he was sick. I'm sure he was in pain and things. Even they said he was not in that pain. His mind was not that clear anymore. He was
the past
old.
4 or 5 years? Or for many years?
Yes. For the last 4 or 5 years, he was not that clear. But his long-time memory was still very good.
Right.
Very, very good. If you show him a picture, he will tell you the story of that picture. There was one occasion where I showed him a picture there with Kathrada with me. He said to Mr. Brand, you know that lady in that picture? I said, who's she? He said, ask Kathrada. That was his girlfriend when he ran to exile, away. He was supposed to marry her, and then he get to prison. He was still making that jokes, telling the truth in pictures. You've seen that. And even on his last, he was still thinking about me. For instance, me and my family visited him on occasion. That one of the last occasions. And then we want to say goodbye to him and so on. And he said, no, Mrs. Brand, can you excuse me and your husband alone for a few minutes? I have a serious discussion with him. So my wife said, thanks, and she greeted my son and my grandchild. Then he talked to me. He said, Mr. Brand, at home, I've got this big ball, exercise ball. And people with a little bit of a stomach must exercise that to keep it thin. You know, thin people live longer. I'm worried about you. He was still worried about me, even he was old.
This was before he died. He was still worried about your health.
That's correct.
This week on London Real, we have astrophysicist Neil deGrasse Tyson.
I wake up every morning astonished that an astrophysicist can have 1.7 million Twitter followers. The cosmos is anything where it's a frontier of human knowledge of how the world works. There's so many forces that want to deny a scientific truth just because it conflicts with their ideology. I thought of myself, because I could wrestle, as sort of a defender of geeks. There is no teacher in any time in my life, from kindergarten through 12th grade and beyond, who ever would have said, he'll go far. And the act of finding out is the lesson, not the lesson itself.
On Sunday, London Real presents Neil deGrasse Tyson, Cosmos.
I'm happy to report that there's an appetite for the cosmos out there.